Hello.
There
Seb,
he
what's
is.
up, man?
Doing good. How about you guys?
We're thriving. We're thriving. Doing these every day, getting into the mojo. But yeah, man, excited to have you on here. So you're the founder of Zapper, which has been one of the leading portfolio tracking products for the past 5 years. And I think that's, where you are today. That's a pretty reductive description of what Zapper is, because you've introduced a bunch of social features, discovery tools, data APIs. I think we've used, and now recently a wallet and Farcaster client. So yeah, curious if you could actually just describe, I guess, how do you talk about Zapper today, and what's the vision for the product?
Yeah, it's always been kind of challenging to like frame the evolution, but the way I kind of like to explain it is we're there to kind of illuminate what's on chain. Like we have all these amazing things like NFTs, tokens, like things to do, smart contracts, yet it's still like opaque to most people. And our first real kind of hair on fire problem was portfolio tracking. And then as we're kind of building a portfolio tracker, and at that time we're so in the like financial aspect, we built it as you connect your own wallet, and that's the only thing you can do. And that was kind of like the skeuomorphic version of the product where it was built off like previous portfolio trackers that exist in Web 2. And then one behavior we noticed from users is they would kind of hack the product to be able to view other wallets. And so the social angle really kind of came organically from like observing user behavior. And so obviously like the initial product was very focused around DeFi and portfolio tracking, but the identity component was always there, right? People were looking at other wallets. And so that's something that we really invested in and kind of paved to where we are today, into kind of like this more explore, and now going into the Farcaster client side, which I'm super excited about, where we can actually leverage like new identity primitives and kind of layer it nicely on top of on-chain data, right? You don't need to interact with a hex address. Obviously, like there's ENS and other like really important identity protocols, but now you have this portable layer that you can identify someone to, and I think that's very powerful. And that's why I'm really excited about like kind of Zapper's future.
So you guys have taken this, maybe we call it a super app approach, doing many things, but bring them in under one hood rather than going deeply vertical in any individual. And yeah, can you just maybe talk about the strategy behind that?
Yeah, our strategy has always been bottom up. So we build up from the chain itself, right? And honestly, everything kind of comes down to a indexing problem. Like if you're a wallet or building any type of experience, it comes to servicing that thing, whether it's like tokens, NFTs from the chain. But I think the superpower in Zapper's case, and what works specifically well with like blockchains, is that it's we have composability on like the on-chain data layer, right? You're using a smart contract that belongs to an app. So there's a transaction that puts a trace that you've kind of fed your chicken in this game. And then you're also collecting NFTs. All that works together to form like this very, this picture of who you are as a person, what you do, what you like to do. And that acts as a way for someone else to discover that, right? And that's kind of how we've been using Twitter, right? Somehow there's an on-chain information that ends up on Twitter, and that acts as a way to kind of parse. It's like this information market for discovering things to do. Farcaster is starting to really kind of help in that direction as well. And so for us, it's like, how do we leverage all these nodes, all these interesting things? And I kind of see it as a on-chain content network effect where each piece that you index enriches another. So, a transaction in a DeFi protocol, well, knowing which DeFi protocol is what it does, which user participates in it, what's the builder, like who's the deployer. Oh, like there's a lot of like people with this NFT that participate. Like it adds this layer of like understanding what that product is, being able to participate it. And we're all social creatures in the sense that we do things based on what others do, like others we respect, others we look up to. And so for us to kind of just see this as this, how do we make this into like an efficient information kind of market?
Got it. You guys have operated in a bunch of very crowded markets. Like I think, there were a ton of portfolio trackers, then you added some of these social features and looked like some of the other social products that maybe existed. And, I think now with Wallet and another Farcaster client, kind of like, again, very crowded markets that are maybe hard to differentiate within. So I'm curious how do you think you need to, what do you need to do to kind of stand out and make this kind of, super app more holistic approach seem more appealing than maybe some of the vertical experiences that people are already using?
Yeah, I think what differentiates us is our ability to like index everything and surface everything on chain. It kind of goes back to my point where like a lot of wallets are operating in silos, in which like, oh, they're using this API for NFT data, they're using that other thing for token prices, and then you're kind of leveraging 6 or 7 things. That kind of restrains your ability to do like a lot of stuff. If you want to say like you want to be able to target a specific user audience or do an algorithm based on like what you own, you need to kind of have all that in-house. I think another part is I think in the early innings, a lot of these products will look similar, but our goal is really like the bottom-up approach and create discussion from on-chain content instead of like you post something and then that somehow wires itself down. I don't know if that makes sense, but like everything is kind of pinned to something that's already on chain, rather than really like the top-down approach. Like something we'll be adding very soon to our wallet client is adding the ability to see like a NFT or collection channel post in there, but in that channel, it gathers not only the on-chain activity, but like all the posts, and you can interact with someone buying an NFT. You could say like, oh, it looks rare, right? These are things that we already do on Twitter, right? There's no reason why that can't be directly like one layer directly above the chain. And so our approach is really, how do we just enrich the chain itself, make it feel the way it actually is? Like that's what I think the role of technology is how do you most authentically present it to people, and it's like the most authentic way. And so that's what we're trying to do. Obviously, like it's very hard UX wise, but we're kind of like iterating and focus on that aspect. And I think like the fact that we index everything already puts us in kind of this unique position to be able to go after that market. And perhaps like instead of like going the top down where it's more Twitter like, or more like Web2 social media like we're kind of doubling down on it being on-chain first.
Oh, Jess, we lost you again. You muted?
Nice. I think last time we chatted, and I think even today, this idea of wallets going social is a big trend. A lot of folks running at that. I've been fairly public about my lack of belief in that, and I was, I think, fairly direct with you in our conversation. And then you're like, yeah, but here, let me show it to you. And I think I have to revise my statement to say I think it's very, very hard for wallets to go social. And my thinking there really is like, it's a very different job to be done to secure my money and just transact versus, do that with my friends. And also, I think I share the intuition that there's a really big opportunity there. And so it's interesting to me to hear you describe yourself not as a wallet company or as a portfolio tracking company, but as an indexing company, because it feels like from the ground up is the only way to, in my mind, go build a social wallet. Like, if MetaMask would be the last sort of social network I'd want to participate in. And I do worry about some of these other, opportunities that people are running at, because I think they underestimate how hard go give Dan or Jacob a call and say like how easy it is to go bootstrap a social network, right? And yet I think starting points matter quite a bit. And you reframed it in my mind, at least, especially with the some of the screenshots you had. So is that product out in the world yet, or where how's
Yeah,
your
right now
thinking
it's a
evolved around?
public test flight. So I
Okay.
posted it. You can visit my Farcaster profile. It's pinned at the top, and there's a link to download the test flight.
So I think this is just a very interesting category to explore. There are a lot of folks running at it with very different opinions on how to make it happen. And so if you have a chance to be an early adopter of these things, as a builder, to see what decisions very smart teams have made here, I think it's very worthwhile. So I'll be giving it a download.
Let's go. Excited. Yeah,
Awesome.
and it's something we're like, Ethereum is already a social network. If it's not what we're building, we're just revealing it to everyone.
Yeah, it's a very different starting point. Seb, appreciate you hopping on, man. We'll definitely get you back on again. Go check out Seb on Farcaster. You can download the test flight and be an early user there. Thank you, Seb.
Let's go. All right. Thank you very much, guys.
Peace, man.
Bye.